Hello and welcome to Real Estate Live with Olisa. Thank God it's Friday. Um, First of all, I want to apologize on behalf of our special guest for today. He called in sick about 2 hours ago, and even though he was saying we should postpone till 7 o'clock, we later decided that we just reschedule because he wasn't sounding well, and of course his health is more important. But then, because we knew that there were beautiful people waiting for us to come live, I decided to discuss a new topic. And so today I'm going to be talking about why it is important to do due diligence on a property before making a transaction. My name is Olisa Omera, and welcome to the show. You know how we do it. Once you come on board, just tell us where you're watching from and your name. Alright, so let's go straight to today's topic. I hope you can hear me. If you cannot hear me, please just let me know that you cannot hear me, and if you can hear me, please indicate. Alright, so what exactly is due diligence? What exactly is due diligence? Now, I would like to give a little dictionary meaning. Due diligence is a series of steps, actionable steps, or an investigation that a person should carry out before making a transaction. Now, the reason for doing due diligence is for you not to end up committing an offense, or for you not to get into trouble. Now, let's explain this using someone who wants to buy a car. Now, for instance, you want to buy a car, and then you decide, okay, it's either I buy second hand, that's Belgium, or I buy Nigerian used. Now, depending on where you are buying from, there are questions you have to ask. There are things you have to consider. If you're buying from someone who has used this car before, you have to know, okay, who really is the owner of this car, right? You have to ask, okay, I want to see the particulars. I want to see the papers, because you don't want to end up buying a stolen car. Because when you buy a stolen car, the police is not going to listen to you. They are not going to want to hear if you bought the car truly or not. And if you're buying a car, you also want to know the condition of the engine, when this car was brought in, and so many other questions that you need to ask. The same thing applies to real estate. When you want to buy land, when you want to purchase land, when you want to purchase a property, there are questions that you need to ask. Now, the extent of due diligence is dependent on the source of your property and the conditions surrounding that property. Now, let's look at real estate development companies, for instance. If you're buying a property, or if you're buying land from a real estate development company, you have to consider things like the survey plan. Okay, is this land free? Is this land under government acquisition? And for you to find that out, you have to ask for the survey plan. You have to chart the coordinates. You have to take it to the Surveyor General's office to confirm that the land is not under government acquisition. Then you have to check the title on the land as well. Now, if they say the land has a C of O, you have to confirm if truly it exists at the land registry. If they say the land is awaiting excision, you have to confirm if truly it is awaiting excision. Because if you do not find out these things, you end up paying for a property only to discover later that the property you purchased is one that is under government acquisition. Then you have yourself to blame. You can as well lose your effort, lose your time, and lose your money, your investment, which is the most important in this case. Now, another thing you should consider is, let's say, for instance, you want to invest in a land, and they tell you that the person selling the land has a power of attorney. That means he has a right to sell that land. You have to find out if the power of attorney is still valid. You have to find out who the real owner of the land is. You have to find out if the owner actually gave this person who is selling the property a power of attorney. What if you want to buy a land and they tell you that there's a court judgment on that land? You have to do a court search. You have to find out if the case is still in court, and if truly the person who is about to sell you that land, or the company who is about to sell you that land, really had really won the case concerning that land. If the person really has the right to sell you that land, if the person has the right to sell you that property. These are things that you need to consider. or else you lose money. Now let's look at it from this other aspect. If you are buying a land from a family, the people we call the omoniles. Now the extent to which you will go will be different for the extent to which you will go if you are buying from a real estate development company. And let's take for instance, you're buying an omonile land. Apart from checking if the land is under government acquisition, apart from checking the survey plan, apart from checking the title, you have to do a court search. You have to find out if there's a dispute on that land. You have to find out if the land or the property has a case in court. You have to find out the members of the family associated with that land. You have to find out if the persons who are about to sell you the land are the representatives, are the right persons who are supposed to sell you that land. Because you may end up buying the land from one faction of a family, only to find out that there's this other faction that you should have done business with as well. And what happens is, if you buy from this side, this other side is going to come and tell you, oh no, this is our land, you were supposed to deal with us and you did not deal with us. What happens? You will now have to pay an additional sum, or you lose your money and your land totally. So that's another reason, that's another thing you need to do. If you're buying from an omonile family, the extent to which you do your due diligence is different. Now you also need to find out what purpose the area you are buying is used for. For instance, if you're buying a property and or if you're buying a land, for instance, and the area is supposed to be used for agricultural purposes, but because you do not know, you went on to make that transaction, and then you planned that you were going to use it for residential purpose. Now what happens is, you end up living amongst cows and among goats and among chickens, and that of course is something you do not want. So it's important to find out not just the status of the land, not just if the land is under government acquisition or not, but the purpose for which that place was mapped out for. Now you also need to find out some other things, like if they have made all their payments, all their charges on the land. For instance, there's something called the land use charge. There are taxes that are supposed to be paid on lands. You have to find out, okay, this land I'm about buying, this property I'm about buying, am I inheriting a whole load of debt? Am I inheriting large debts? Because you may end up buying a property, you need to find out that there are hundreds of millions of naira that you need to pay on that property. And this is mainly peculiar with families, with individuals who want to sell their properties or their lands. So apart from just finding out if the land has a good title, apart from finding out if you are buying from the right person, apart from finding out if there is a dispute on the land, apart from finding out if you are speaking with the right representatives of the family, apart from finding out the purpose of the area, you need to find out the taxes, the charges, extra charges on that land. You know, I hope I'm not inheriting large debts. Now another thing you need to consider, if you're buying a land that has been fenced, for instance, you need to find out, why do you want to sell this land after fencing? You need to find out, okay, you want to sell this land because you want to use the money for something, or you plan to sell it. Okay, can I see the documents that you used to carry out fencing on this land? Can I see what proof do you have that you were the one who fenced this land? Because someone may just take you to a property and is trying to sell you someone else's land. Now you may be buying a property that was fenced, and you do not know that the land you're about to buy is someone's property. And because you did not ask questions, because you did not ask for the receipts that he used to pay for the blocks and the guys that did the construction, you end up paying for someone else's land. And then tomorrow, when you're already carrying out work on that land, someone comes and tells you that this is his land, because you did not carry out due diligence. Now apart from that, if you're buying a building, let's say someone wants to sell his building and you want to buy it. Yes, the price may be awesome, the price may be fantastic, probably it's a distress sale, the price may be tempting, but first you need to find out what is the title on the land on where the building was constructed. Because it's possible that the person just found out that the land he bought years ago was committed. The person just found out that the land he bought years ago was under government acquisition. What then happens? Because you did not do your due diligence, you then go ahead and make that transaction. Some years later, the government now comes and then marks an X on your property, or the government then say that you should move out of that property, or comes to demolish your property simply because you did not carry out due diligence on the property. I hope you're seeing how important it is to carry out due diligence on a property. Now, apart from building, let's say you want to buy a property or a land, and they tell you that the owner is abroad. Fine, the owner is abroad, and because that emotion is just, oh, the owner is abroad, I cannot wait for this person to come back. You just go ahead and make your transaction. No. You need to find out, okay, the owner is abroad, I understand. Can I speak with him? That's the first thing. You want to speak with the owner to find out, yes, this person is really the owner. Okay, fine, I've spoken with him. Can I see the title documents on this land? You want to see if he has a C of O, you want to see if he has a gazette, you want to see if he has a governor's consent. After seeing the title documents on that land, you also want to see a deed of assignment. A deed of assignment a deed of assignment between the owner and the person he bought it from. Of course, the person should have taken possession of his property. You also want to see a registered deed. The deed should be registered. You should not just buy a property from someone who bought from someone else and has not registered the property with the government. You want to see a registered deed. You want to be sure that the person has taken rightful possession of that property. Now, you also want to find out that this person has cleared all his all the charges accruing to that land. You want to find out that the person has paid the taxes owing to that land. If not, you will be inheriting a very heavy bill. So you see, whatever land you're buying, whatever property you're buying, you should carry out due diligence on that property. And depending on the source of the property, depending on the conditions surrounding that property, that determines the extent to which you should carry out due diligence. Now, the truth is, anybody can carry out due diligence by himself, but you need people who are experienced with these kind of things. And such persons, I prefer dealing with property lawyers. Now, when it comes to dealing with lawyers, you shouldn't just deal with any lawyer. You understand? Not all lawyers are experienced when it comes to property law. Some lawyers may know a whole lot of things, maritime law and other things. But when it comes to dealing with property law, there are lawyers who understand these things. And when you deal with them, you won't end up getting burnt. So it is important to carry out due diligence on your property so that you do not lose your money and so that you do not lose your property in future. That's why it's important to carry out due diligence. Now, one thing about due diligence is that some people go ahead carrying out due diligence, or they go ahead with the due diligence process and they spend almost forever because of one thing called fear. Once you have carried out the necessary search on a property, the next thing you should do is go ahead and make a transaction on that property. Don't be scared. Don't be scared. Go ahead and make a transaction, but make sure you have checked everything that is there to check. Make sure you have checked everything that is there to check. So that is basically what I have to say concerning carrying out due diligence on a property and why it is important to carry out due diligence on a property. Now, I just released a free report that was yesterday night, and I called it 12 common real estate scams in Nigeria and how to avoid them. Now, what I did was I outlined 12 common scams that people encounter every day, and I explained how these scams could come about and how you should avoid them, what you should do to avoid getting into such scams. So what you should do is just click on the link. It's above this post. Click on the link and it will take you direct to a page. Just put in your details where we will send the information to, and you get access to this information. Now, whether you want to invest in Lagos, whether you want to invest in Port Harcourt, whether you want to invest in Abuja, provided you want to invest in Nigeria, yes, you should get access to that report. You should get that report. Then one more thing that I probably forgot to add. Another part of due diligence is, okay, if you want to buy a property and someone says that the area is appreciating very fast, you should not just listen to people. You should not listen to agents or consultants. Yes, okay, the Lekki Free Trade Zone is appreciating very fast. Why? Okay, because there is a Dangote refinery, because of the Lekki Deep Sea Port, because of the airport, because of the Lekki Free Trade Zone itself. Yes, that's because you've seen those things. Well, what if someone says that you should come and buy lands along Ore Expressway, and is telling you that this land is appreciating, that lands in that area are appreciating very fast? There should be reasons. You should see, as in reasonable reasons why these lands are appreciating very fast. You should not just listen to word of mouth, because if you listen to word of mouth and because you did not do your due diligence, you end up going to tie your money down in that area. So that, my friends, is our show for today. I'm very sorry that we could not bring you the topic we planned to bring today, and that is because our special guest called in sick. But then we have rescheduled, and I hope that we are going to discuss that topic next week, Friday. Do not forget to pick your free report above this video, and then do have a wonderful weekend. If you have questions concerning this topic I just talked about, you can ask them in the comments below. And then if there is a real estate issue that is bothering you, or if you want to invest in real estate, why not just send me an email? Send it to olisa@landsandhouses.com. I'll add it to this post now. Alright, till next week, Friday, guys. Do have a wonderful weekend. Bye bye.